Okay, so we've got a little bit more game dev to do today. There is a new build, so I'm just gonna check on that, see what there is to see how much has been fixed from the last build. I'm optimistic about this one, very optimistic, to see what we've got going on. Jojo, how you doing? What's good, my friend? Very optimistic to see what we've got going on in this build, to take off of our checklist, our handy dandy checklist, and move us one step closer to being ready to go. Now, I'm just going to put this up on my phone real quick. And put this over to the side. That way I can keep track of the happenings, as it were. All right. Now, we sign in. Yes, indeed. New APK. Another day, another dev stream. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right. We've got a new APK ready to go. Some of this stuff is going to be easy to knock out of the park. I know normally I start with the subset specific stuff, but like, for example, the very first item over here is make it so that the working cards button in the shop only unlocks a standard version of cards and not the marked ones. We can check that very quickly. Head over to the developer shop. And oh wait, the music is on. That's going to be confusing. Let's just turn that off. One of the things that they were supposed to do was to lock this, no? Or was that not in this build? Okay, let's take a look. Working cards. Yep, and I've only got the standard version of all of these cards unlocked. Beautiful. Alright, so that is the first thing done and dusted. Next thing to start looking at. Let's actually go to the bottom. Let's start looking at cards, because cards are going to be the most important thing. Let's switch over to a deck that allows us to test what cards have been fixed and what cards have not. This hand would let me test most of it, actually. Let's start with Forest Wall. Yeah, let's start with Forest Wall. So, in the last build, the issue with Forest Wall was the Forest Wall rune is still not functioning correctly at all. As seen in the following clip, Forest Wall did not protect Selenis from destruction via card effect, and it triggers, but it wasn't protecting it from battle. So, basically just looking at Forest Wall from the ground up, we will take a look at that and just see if it's been updated. I need to is this phone gonna work? Survey says. There we go. Okay, perfect. All right, so looking through it, turn one, I am testing out. I want to test out Forest Wall. We'll do startup, and I guess Incinerate can be on the field. And then what else to just try and move things along expeditiously? What does Lilith need tested? Pixie Dust was not activating at all, or it didn't see Forest Guard as a card worth protecting. I don't think we can test that this turn. I guess we can test out the VFX for Minos and the VFX for Centaur Sage, and that will be this turn. Okay, beautiful. Minos hits the field. End the declaration phase. Wave start. We go for tutelage. Tutelage activates. Now, what are the core issues with tutelage? Tutelage, don't chain anything. Okay, so with tutelage, it was purely a VFX issue. Did tutelage just freeze the game? No. No, tutelage froze the game. How can, if tutelage is broken, how can I test anything else? I literally can't test Forest Guard if tutelage is broken. What do I do? I guess I can manage with... For flip's sake, man. Let's just see this again real quick. Just to be certain that it is, in fact, broken. Let's do it one more time. Okay. I get my activation prompts. Activate tutelage at 88 seconds. No response from my opponent. No other effects to be activated. Okay. No. Okay, tutelage is broken. Can't use it. So that means I can't test. Shoot, that... Let's work around this. I don't want to waste a day. I have to find a way to work around this. Right? If I revolve my testing around the Hephaestus ability instead of... If I revolve testing around Hephaestus instead of tutelage, we can just about skirt by, I think. Right? It means that we have less counters per turn, but on turn 1, that's at least 2 counters, right? Literally, of all the abilities to break, of all of the effects to break, for it to be Silenus is tough. Okay, so I need to time code that actually. 5 minutes in, Silenus does not work and is freezing the game. So 5, Silenus does not work and is freezing the game. I'm sure it's, you know the thing, I'm sure Silenus probably works. It's just whatever is wrong with Silenus is it's causing him to freeze the game even though he shouldn't. But then how do I test? That means I can't test wall. I can test wall for destruction protection, I guess. Yeah, let's do that. I'll test wall for destruction protection. And see if that works. Yeah, we can go Nature's Forge. That way we have a forest counter right away. Loving how this game is going. Hey, thank you, friend. Also, just so I understand, you get to pick your starting hand. Yes, you do. The game is largely about strategy more so than just about luck, RNG, and the card battling aspects. Forest Wall, please. Forest Wall is broken. Did I download the wrong build? No, I'm certain I downloaded the right build. Also, the working cards update is in the game, which means this must be the right build. Forest Wall just still does not work at all. It didn't even activate to protect me from destruction. What is the time code? The time code is 8 minutes in. Oh, I'm gonna be sick. Okay. Let's start over. There must be some things in this build that are fixed. I don't want them. I don't want there to be. I feel like this team is rushing. I feel like this team is rushing because they're trying to get paid. Because this is the second time in like the last 2 or 3 builds that I'm getting a build back that is not actually functional. And I've already put it forward to them. I can pay you half up front now. That way you guys aren't out for as long, because they have been working longer than they would, because this build is this milestone is taking longer to complete. So they've gone longer than they normally would. There was an injection of pay when I added on a brief. But overall, this is still longer than they would normally go without pay. So I don't want a situation where they're rushing to fix it, and that causes it to take longer overall. Is the thing, you know? So Forest Wall still not working at all. Silenus I can't even test, so I just have to untick what I put. I have to just assume that it's not done, because I can't actually see it. Let's test. Who do we test next? we can still test Minos and Centaur Sage unless they also break the game. Which, if they do, that is unfortunate. Do they not do any testing themselves? Now, at the stage that I'm at, I don't know that they do. I don't know that they thoroughly or rigorously test. I do think that they put the burden of testing on our end, which, in fairness, their job is to develop. In my mind, testing is a part of that, but in truth, if you're doing tons and tons and tons of development, you might not have time to also do the testing before you ship it out. Like 1 or 2 tests on your PC, maybe, but in terms of like the rigorous testing that we do, I guess not. And in this specific example, I guess whatever testing that they did just... No, because how could... Even... Unless there's a bug where it works on the PC and it just doesn't work over here. I don't really know how you cannot see that Selenis as a whole isn't working, right? Because what this does is it wastes us a day, unfortunately, because they sent me this build at 4 p.m. I didn't see it until 6:30 because I was out. And then let's just activate both of these now. Activate this as well. And what we should see happen is just the VFX for these effects appear on the cards. They broke the game. Oh, okay. All right. So 11 minutes in. 11 minutes in. Minos and Centaur Sage do not work and are freezing the game. Right? I know that they made changes because in the previous build that they sent me, that much wasn't actually working. Right? They weren't freezing the game. They were just weighing out. They were just acting up. But this is... I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a bit frustrated. I know that they must also be frustrated because, again, you're working for pay. The job isn't done. You're trying to get it done as quickly as possible, so I can understand the frustration. No, if it works on PC, it would work on mobile. There's no way that they tested it. No, we've had that happen before where they show me like, oh, on PC, like it's doing this, and then we download it, and for whatever reason, it doesn't work. It's happened on this game. It's happened on Era before. So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt because I've seen it happen where it's like, not when I say working on PC, I don't mean that they downloaded an ABK and played it on PC. I mean when they're still in like DevOps and doing everything in DevOps, it's working there, and then you export it and then it's not working for whatever reason. Is more so what I mean, right? Rigorous testing should be done by beta testers, not the devs. With something like this, it seems to be easy enough to replicate. It should be done by the developers, in my opinion. That's valid. No, that's completely valid. All right, the next thing to test is second wind. Right? To say it's annoying because it wastes my time. Right? Because I'm gonna go through every single effect, and if there's a bunch of them that aren't working, then it wastes a lot more time. Right? Can I even test second wind? What does second wind say? Remove 2 forest counters from cards you control. Okay, so I can test second wind if I use Nature's Forge and Startup together. And all that I'm testing is that my opponent is able to see the card. Right? I disagree, Alex. Rigorous testing should be absolutely done by the developers. Speaking as a dev myself, I mean, I do think it depends on the game and the circumstances, right? Like, if you are the one making a game, fair enough. But in a situation like this, where, for instance, it's a team that's been hired to make a game, let's just put the counter on Hephaestus, on Goblin Forge. I forgot what I was saying, but I forgot what I was saying. I don't know. I don't wanna thinking about it too much at this stage won't fix it. My opponent can see the rune for center stage. Okay, so they did make fixes, right? They did make fixes to a couple of these things, or at least not even they did make fixes. What the hell? Oh shoot, I set the freeze rune. I was about to be like, why is it giving me the option to activate freeze? I didn't set freeze. No, I pulled the freeze rune from my deck. That's cool. That's cool to see. That's cool to see in action. Okay, so that works. That works. We can take this off the chopping block. Beautiful. Let's see here. Let's go woodland. Let's test forest woodland. Did I put forest woodland on my list for transparency updates? Depends. Sometimes different platforms support different things, making cross-platform play impossible. Like Borderlands or I don't know what ROR2 is, being platform-specific multiplayer. IMO, if someone gives you a dev task and you don't test your work to make sure it's functional and ends up being not functional, you failed. You tried to do a task, not tried to do a task. See, here's the thing. You failed that build, but you know for a fact that I'm going to test said build and then send it back to you. So, you know what? Actually, no, because with the loop that we've created, I get it to an extent, because it's like, okay, you're going to make it, then I'm going to test it and send it back to you. So it's almost like trying to save time by saying, okay, I will make it, then you test it, then give me feedback, then you test it, then give me feedback. Because it's not like this is a version of the game that we're giving to people to use. This is still there, it's still in development. You get what I mean? I think the way you phrase that is sort of cemented where I stand on it, because it's like, okay, we have not, you haven't I guess you failed at the initial task, but then you haven't failed overall, because the idea was to send it to me to get feedback. The whole point is for me to give you feedback. Now, the feedback would be better if you also tested it, but then that would make things, I suppose, I don't know if it saves time or not, right? Would it be more time consuming to test yourself and then fix it based on what you see, or to have me test it and then, or to have you test it, then, yeah, because you test it, then I test it, and then I give you feedback to fix things, versus you just fixing things that you see, but then if you then send it to me, I will still test it and probably still send you more stuff. In an ideal world, yes, they would test it themselves. In an ideal world, they would, just to make sure that the things that they did work. But based on the context of our arrangement, I have to give grace. That's all I can do. All I can do is give grace and say, like, yeah, fair enough. Forest woodland, please select please select a stat, a value to increase. Okay, next up. Can we test hibernation here? I don't know if we can. Let's go woodland. Let's go woodland. Let's go woodland. We'll test woodland. It should give me the option to boost either attack or defense. If woodland does that, then yep, it's working properly. So we don't really need to put anything else on the field. Him by himself and the card in question will be enough for the test. And honestly, thank goodness for Goblin Forge, because if Goblin Forge did not exist as a card in this deck, we'd be screwed. So I feel like even the players will appreciate Goblin Forge, but it's cool that we, the developers, also can appreciate Goblin Forge's existence, because he makes life so much easier. Forest Woodland activates. Select value to increase. Beautiful. Okay, yep, it works. It works. It works. It works. Sick. And it took the forest counters off. We removed Forest Woodland from the chopping block. Alright, let's start over. It comes down to different ethics between me and them. Valid. Which is why I believe in using speedrunners to do beta testing. I mean, that makes sense because speedrunners are looking to find bugs and glitches. But why I disagree is because I think speedrunners are going to find bugs and glitches that the average player will never experience, right? So do I want to spend dev time patching holes that will literally never come up? I don't know. Like, if it's something that is likely to come up in the course of ordinary play, then yeah, let's patch that hole. But the speedrunner approach makes it so that, like, the most niche things get found. And don't get me wrong, those are important to find too, but when you're on a limited time and budget, I don't tend to prioritize that. What are we testing on Emergence? Emergence is not allowing you to choose which cards you take the tokens off of. How many cards do you need to remove for Forest Emergence? Oh, this is so tedious. We literally cannot test this properly. I would have to take multiple turns to test this effect. Okay, I guess that's what we'll have to do. Right? Because he can do it, technically. It's just the way in which it gets done. Frustrating. Well, part of me, I feel like I should test a change that they've made to Maxim Opus quickly. Let's go in with this. Right? Here's an example. Dark Souls has a Souls dupe glitch. To this day, through all its ports, there is one. It's there in one way or another, but not to the extent that your average player would know without the internet. That makes sense. Valid. Right? That's sort of how I feel about this, where it's like, okay, the average player may not encounter this. It's not. It may not be that deep. So if it costs a bunch of money in dev time to fix it, why bother? Right? At least at the stage of being a small company. Once you're a bigger company, I'm dumb. I meant to put a card on my opponent's field to attack. Right? Okay, I got a rune. Not great, but okay. And that was card exchange that I just activated. Good. Right? Not only speedrunners low, but they understand games and how they play so much that in certain games, say, first-person platformers will be able to tell you about the gameplay itself. And how they play so much that in certain games, say first-person platformers, will be able to tell you about the gameplay itself. No, see, here's the thing, Axel. I'm hearing you. It's just my point of view is I don't want an expert to be a playtester for my game. Right? I want an average player to be a playtester for my game. I guess you can have speedrunners on there as well, but then that's looking at costs, right? I would rather have just average people who are willing to playtest for free than hiring a speedrunner. Because it's average people who are going to play the game in the first place. But point taken. We put that on my opponent's side. We put this on my side. And we card exchange again. I'd like to read that, actually. Let's read what it says specifically. Let's read exactly what it says. End. Card exchange. We activate. Please choose a card to discard from your hand. I like that. Yeah, I like that text. Let's leap on our opponent's side. Yeah, I like that. Okay. We just need to make sure all works smoothly and no game-breaking glitch exists. Exactly. Like, for example, Selenis preventing the entire deck from functioning as it should. Something that we ideally don't want to see. Iron Will resolves. Did I get Maxim Opus? No, I did not. You hate to see it. Well, it's a 1 in 3 chance I get it this time. Oh, understandable. It's also hard to find a card game speedrunner willing to play a different RNG game. Fair, also a valid point, right? Show me Maxim Opus. Where are you? Where is she? Please, draw. Okay, never mind. I just don't get to be happy. Let's put this face down and we just end turn and wait to hope to draw her randomly and see what we get. Alright? Selenis, Instructor of the Forest Guard. Yep, we tested. We know that doesn't work. The counter going up infinitely, we can't see anything about. I just need to make sure that they didn't go in and give Maxim Opus her initially intended effect, basically. So I put a fix in the notes saying that Maxim Opus has the ability to remove cards from the game. So we have a thing in the game where you can send cards to this place called the Black, which is our banished zone. But in this game, if a card is in the banished zone, it not only does it not interact with the rest of the game, but your deck composition is what allows your cards to use their effects. So the initial concept was that by removing a card from the game, that affects your deck composition. So if your cards have a synergy rating of 7 and you only have 7 of them in there and one of them gets removed, then boom, your deck no longer has active synergy. Now that's an extremely powerful effect, and so that was balanced around the fact that only you had the power to do that to yourself, right? As like a cost for strategy. But they were just struggling to hit the mark on that one, so I removed it. Right? Okay, so if I were to... We need to summon... We're going to have to wait a turn. We're going to have to wait a turn. Right? Have you found any OTKs? I feel weird about OTKs in a game where you effectively stack your deck. No. We had OTKs previously, but we've fished them out in testing. And actually, no, that was a 2-turn kill. The fastest that we found is a 2-turn kill. Let's go Lancia Verita to raise our life points. We will remove you. Beautiful. Wait, what? Oh, shoot! Yeah. We don't have to wait 2 turns because I can activate Rite of Ashes on my opponent's card. So movement phase 1 rolls around. And good. Rite of Ashes still works. Alright, Rite of Ashes still works. Targets my opponent's card. Increases its attack. Burns it. Alright, perfect. Maxim Opus works the way that she should. Okay. Alright, now. To the more specific things. No. Alright. Let's see here. Nope, I don't need generic anymore. I need Forest Guard. Let's go Forest Guard attack. And then over here, what do I need to test? Hibernation. Okay. I think I can set up a test for that. Okay. I think I got... Oh, is there a hair in my mouth? I think so. Okay. Anyway. Now. Goblin Forge. Forest Guard startup. I think this is the board to test what I want to test. No, actually. We'll put her on. But we'll give it 1 turn. Right? Well, I'm at work, so I gotta go. Happy testing, and I hope you have a productive stream. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate that. Have a good time at work. We Nature's Forge to give ourselves 1 counter. We Forest Guard Startup to give him 1 counter. And then we let the turn run through. We're going to turn our toggle off so he stops asking to center stage, because I know for a fact that would freeze the game. And then we just power on through it. Now, movement phase 1 will roll around. He moves up. Everyone else stays where they are. No opposition means nothing to really do on that side. Now, what was wrong with hibernation? Okay. So adding messages to the windows. Not asking how many counters to remove. And the card that you're removing counters from not being an option for further removal. All of which are things that make perfect sense. Alright, let's give this a shot. And hibernation is not in my hand. Okay, I guess we're testing something else. Actually, I could card exchange to speed the process up. But what else needs testing? Emergence? Yeah, we could test emergence. We could test emergence here. Once Goblin Forge is activated, its effect, because emergence needs to allow me to choose which card I'm removing my counters from. So let's see here. End the declaration phase. First thing to activate is Nature's Forge. Huh. Oh, my toggle is off. I was like, what's going on? Why is nothing working? It's because my toggle is off. Oops. Oops. Let's Nature's Forge. And let's also card exchange. We can discard... I mean, we know for a fact that wall doesn't work, so we may as well discard wall. Don't chain. Okay, still no card that we're after, but that's alright. Center stage wants to activate because it's battle phase. We say no. Wave end rolls around, and I will activate emergence. Now, I should be able to select which card I take counters from. One. What? I suppose after I chose the first counter, there was only one other option. So I needed to have done that test backwards, unfortunately. Okay, alright. I mean, it got me the rune back, so fair play. But I needed to have done that test literally the opposite way around. So I'm not willing to count that as properly tested. Hibernation is here now. Perfect. All right, we'll go startup. We'll go hibernation, and see what that looks like on the board. The first one of hibernation appears. The shadow message: select a card to remove forest counters from. Let's go Nature's Forge. And let's go Forest Guard Startup. On to Bro. Don't chain. Alright, we've got 3 forest counters on the field. So, select a card to remove forest counters from should be the first menu. Beautiful. I'm going to choose you. Okay. Cool. I can choose how many forest counters I want to remove now. Please select a card to move those forest counters to... Beautiful, actually. Hey, that works perfectly. And don't activate Second Wind. If I were to activate Second Wind now, I think it would just cause the effect to fail overall. But now the counters are spread out. That actually worked perfectly. Okay. That made me very happy. That made me very, very happy. I think for hibernation... Yeah, no, that was perfect. That was literally perfect. I want to add messages to the window itself. I want to add messages to the window to allow us to know and see when things are to allow us to know and see when things are happening. But other than that, literally perfect. All right. Let's test emergence. Let's test emergence and see how well it works in a world where I don't make the mistake of choosing the wrong card. It doesn't impact trigger. Okay, so Forest Wall, like we said, not doing nada. Let's Goblin Forge. Let's Startup. Let's Centaur Sage. Actually, no, who's not going to be annoying? Let's Pixie. And let's Dryad. Okay. Actually, wait, no, that was a mistake. Dryad is equally annoying once he has a counter on him. Okay, well. End. Forest Guard Startup. Onto the... Let's say it's onto the Pixie. And Nature's Forge. Oh, I can Hephaestus. No, I'm still going to Nature's Forge, though. Because then Dryad will be annoying once he has a counter on him. Yep, perfect. Correct amount of counters created. Movement phase 1 rolls around into the battle phase, into movement phase 2, into battle phase 2, followed by wave end, and we're done. Okay, so we test whether or not emergence lets me do the same counter thing that that wall did, that hibernation did, right? That was really, really good. That was really, really good, right? So again, I feel like their stocks went into the other effects, because so far, aside from Selenis, Minos, and Sage, I think everything that I've tested has worked. All right, I haven't had to put a time code down since 11 minutes in, so that's 26 minutes or 25 minutes without any bugs. Which is really nice. Which is really, really nice to see. Oh, what? Oh, shoot. What am I testing again? Emergence? Yeah, I'm testing emergence. And end. And wave start. Now, Lilith, okay, beautiful. Lilith wants to activate. She wants to help. The answer is no, but she wants to, and that's what matters, right? She wants to remove the counter from herself to activate Pixie Dust. Now, movement phase 1 rolls around. I should have Pixie Dust and Forest Emergence as my activatable effects. Beautiful. If I say I want to activate Forest Emergence, let's say I choose you. 1. Thank you. Okay. All right. So it's going one by one. It's basically saying, please choose a card to remove a forest counter from. Please choose another card to remove a forest counter from. Don't activate Pixie Dust. And that allows us to yoink back. Oh, the only option was Forest Guard Startup, so it automatically added it to our hand. Beautiful. I should just note. For menu 1, please make sure that this message, please ensure that the message appears each time a card with a counter needs to be selected, not just the first time. Okay, so emergence works. Oh, it works, baby. It's beautiful, right? I need them to add messages. I need them to add the text to it, but in terms of the function, it's working. All right, so I fully, firmly, and fervently believe that Forest Wall does not work. All right, the game does not see Forest Wall as a Forest Guard card. Right? Because there's a note here saying that Lilith does not work, and she literally just tried to protect a different card. I just think that Forest Wall is broken right now. And so if I were to do this test, let's say I Nature's Forge. What does she say? She says, remove from this card. Okay, so it has to be from this card. So we will Forest Guard Startup onto Um, Actually, Lilith only needs one counter. So we can Forest Guard Startup on to Dryad. All right, let's Forest Guard Startup onto him and see what happens. Now, at movement phase 1, I should have the option with Lilith to Pixie Dust. Okay, so Pixie Dust works. I remove the counter from her. Do not chain Emerald Sprout just yet. Pixie Dust resolves. There needs to be a VFX to showcase that a card is protected by Pixie Dust, right? There, because you don't know unless you were just watching. Need a VFX to show what cards are protected by Pixie Dust. All right. What did I want to test on Emerald Sprout? Let's see here. Lilith passed her test. Beautiful. Dryad. Oh, his destruction animation. Yeah, we can test that. Select up to 1 cards. Let's grab Startup. Confirm. Let's test and see if he's got the right destruction animation. Yes, he does. Beautiful. And let's just wait to the end phase to see if that card actually does stay protected by Pixie Dust. Beautiful. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. On to the next turn. Still on the field. Alright, so we start again. Beautiful. What we want to test this time around is Dryad once again. So we're testing Dryad still. Let's see here. Yep, this was added. We just need to test Switch a lot because Switch is a problem. Only avatars. Okay, so defense stats in the Nexus, support type avatars should always use their defense stat. We can test that now with Dryad actually. All right. Let's see here. So, what I want to achieve is Dryad having as many counters as possible, but I think the maximum that he can actually have in this version is 2. If I go Startup, I mean, if I want to be very convoluted about it, I could increase that number, but I don't want to be very convoluted about it, so we're just not going to. All right, I'd have to wait multiple turns in order to make that work because we don't have Selenis. I'm glad that I was patient with this build because seeing how many of the other effects are working properly is making me very happy. We go Forest Guard Startup onto Dryad. And then we have Festus onto Dryad as well. So he gets double the counters. He should be on 2 by the end of this. Beautiful. C'est magnifique. Alright, so the next thing to do in this situation, and this is going to be annoying now. Let's turn that off. Alright. And if I'm not mistaken, Dryad is on the list of things that need text updates. Because English? Is he not? He is. No, he's not. He's not. Dryad of the Forest Guard. Dryad of the... So, I just want cards engraved for this turn. So I am just going to set these 3 runes. Oh, hey, wait a second. Ooh, that could be fun. I can use Hibernation to get another rune onto Dryad. Another counter onto Dryad. That's perfect, actually. Let's see if that works. Dryad of the Forest Guard. Please. Please select. Choose a card. No, that doesn't make sense. Grammatically, English-wise. That doesn't make sense grammatically. Choose. Please remove 2 forest counters from your card. Please remove 2 forest counters from your card. Please select your card. Please select your card. Please select the card. Please select the card. Please select the cards. Please select the cards to add back to your hand. Please select the cards to add to your hand. Okay, so. Oh, my toggle was off that entire time. So that whole hibernation strategy went right out the window. Beautiful. All right, so. Declaration phase rolls around. We can just test for 2 then. All right, now. I will Emerald Sprout, and what we're testing for on Emerald Sprout is Dryad's effect should be asking me to choose up to, so I should not be forced to choose 2 cards just because I have 2 counters. So if I activate this, please select up to 2 cards. If I just go U and confirm, beautiful. I kind of want to test it again, but under different circumstances. Will it let me choose more cards than I'm allowed to? I don't think it will because we've looked at that before. And I've already sacrificed Emergence. Yes, let's start over. Okay. That went perfectly. That went perfectly. That went perfectly. Now, come back over here. And we will actually double down. If I go 1, 2, I need startup. And then on the next turn, I can do a hibernation to move an extra rune onto my guy. If anything, I could have put more runes on the field, actually. Ooh, let's test to see if it lets you target non-forest guard runes, which it shouldn't. All right, let's test to see if that is working as it should. But no, very happy with Dryad as well. So it feels like the more technical effects are all working. What's not working is the simpler effects of Minos and Centaur Sage and Selenis, where they are constants through the game. Well, I'm calling them simpler. They seem simpler because they were already working. So I guess in my head they're simpler, but they may be just as, if not more, tedious from a development standpoint. End phase rolls around, and turn 2 hits. Now, I just realized that the whole hibernation plan relied on me top decking hibernation, which I didn't, so that's awesome. I mean, I guess if I could emerge. No, emergence will take 2 counters from me. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna put these cards on the field. 1, 2, 3. We'll turn our toggle back on. That way we can use Hephaestus. Sorry, that way we can use Nature's Forge to give ourselves an extra counter. But that's about all I want to do. And then on the next turn, we'll test what I wanted to test with Dryad. Turn my toggle back off. We just want the one rune. Nothing else, thank you. Right? Everything else can go. Everything else can go. I'm very happy with how Forest Guard, with how all of the runes are working. I think at this stage, all of the Forest Guard runes work except Forest Wall, and the runes are the most important part of this subset, right? This subset lives and dies on its runes. All of those go to the graveyard. Thank you very much, and they've got the right fadeaway animation. Do I top deck Hibernation? Yes, please, maybe? Nope, never mind. Okay, so I'll just turn my toggle back on, and we go in for a little test, right? We go in for a little test of whether or not the right thing activates, right? Now, let's see here. Or rather, whether or not it lets me scoop up cards correctly. If I go Emerald Sprout, I can select up to 2 cards, and it's not letting me choose a third. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And if I'm not mistaken, I have a non-Forest Guard card in my grave. Oh. Ah, okay. We found a bug. If you're in a menu, if you're in 51, if you're in not able to access the rest of the game when in a menu with a message, even if the minimize window is pressed. Okay, so yeah, but I am quite sure that I have a card in my graveyard. Let's not Nature's Forge. All right, in my graveyard. Yeah, I had a non-Forest Guard card in the grave. It just didn't show up because it shouldn't have shown up. Beautiful. Yo, Saul, welcome. First time here, definitely looks interesting. I'm glad you like the look of it, friend. It is a game that I've been working on for the last, I want to say 2 years. It's getting very close to being ready for an open beta, not for release, right? The open beta is almost ready to go, where we do some live testing. But yeah, no, Dryad works perfectly, so we can, they need to update the message. They need to update the messaging on it, but that can be its own thing, right? So, Forest Wall doesn't work, Centaur Sage doesn't work, Minos doesn't work, Entity needs to be tested, and we can test Entity relatively easily. I just missed the turn. Okay, so, we will test Entity. No, actually, we can't test Entity, or we can't test the bug that Entity had, which is, there's a bug, so, I'm going through and just finding bugs, basically, right? I have a team of devs that I work with, that I hire as freelancers to work on the game. They make changes. I look for bugs to try and get it as optimized as possible before we release. And so I am actively trying to break my own game, right? Just to see what can be broken. This build, it's very promising because there's a lot of stuff, that wasn't working that is, and also this is the wrong hand. I need a different card in my starting hand, so I need to change my deck list, right? Also, I want to check something. This should have been fixed. It has not been fixed. Okay, cool. So the cards with the eye icons are still showing up incorrectly. That was at 53. Icons are still giving wrong information, right? Don't know why that happens, but yeah, those cards are not by any means generic cards, so I don't know why. Is it because they don't have effects coded in? No, even the cards with effects coded in have that issue. So yeah, it's just something that needs to be fixed. It was ticked. I really don't like it when things are ticked that shouldn't have been ticked, right? Because if it doesn't work at all, right, like that, I see no changes to before I put that thing on, right, which is frustrating, but that didn't take too much time to test, so I guess that's not the end of the world, right? The error where you can tap cards that are behind other cards was in effect previously, So basically, if I'm looking at this, I could tap this and get the card behind it by accident. Doesn't look like that's a thing. I'm willing to trust that they've got it this time, because that was one that we had issues with a couple of times over. And I guess I'll just keep an eye on it to make sure that that doesn't come up again. But yeah, we'll take that off the chopping block. Let's see here. Start at the card that summon in Nexus concedes defense. I can test that later. Switch issues. Okay, those are all things that are weird to test. Let's test entity. All right. We've got lots of things that are working as they should. I don't need Sage in my hand. Actually, no, I should have taken Lilith out of my hand because she's done with testing. Sage will need testing in the next build. So to make my life faster and easier, Sage stays in my opening hand. And Lilith is the one that goes to resource. Where's Entity? There you are. Entity gets added to hand. And we go in for a game. Okay, so Entity was able to use Encore to get runes that had been used on the previous turn. This should be an easy one to test. If I send this to my opponent's defense zone, and I set this Incinerate rune to incinerate myself because I want to be on fire, then on my next turn, I summon Entity. I should not have Incinerate as an option for one of the effects to use, right? So I will activate Incinerate, target him. Not going to activate Forest Guardian at any point in this turn, so I'm going to turn my toggle off. We get burned, we're ignited, and we just play through this turn, let what happens happen, and then we take it from there. I'm optimistic for Entity as well. I really do think that there will only be a few cards that do not have their there will only be a few cards that do not have what they need here, right? Loving the VFX for taking damage. Beautiful. End phase rolls around. End phase rolls around. Turn 2, lose another 50. We draw 1. Let's put down you. And funny enough, actually, with Encore, we could have been having... If we had... Okay, no, that's funny. If we had Entity on the field when testing, we could have Encored the startup, but then startup takes a rune. It takes a counter of... Sorry, Encore takes a counter in order to use its effect. So, let's see. We should not be able to activate Encore right now at the start of the turn. My toggle is off. I'm dumb. Toggle back on. We can activate Danger Beast. Beautiful. But we cannot activate Encore. Good. Now, Encore says remove voice counter from a card you control. It can be any card. We'll put it over here. Why not? We'll put it over here. Don't activate Danger Beast. Don't activate anything. Forest Guard startup activates, resolves, boom. We didn't get the option for Incinerate. That's perfect. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. We go for the battle phase. My opponent gets attacked for 50 damage because I'm on fire. Movement phase 2 rolls around, and now I have the option to Encore. Beautiful. And I don't have the option to Danger Beast anymore because there's no runes on the field. I activate Encore. The hell? Oh, right. It took the rune, it took the forest counter from myself, as one does. And my only option, because my only option was Forest Guard Startup, it automatically put that card on my field. Beautiful. Okay, yeah. Encore works properly now. Encore works properly. There is nothing to fear. We can move away from that. So that is all of the Forest Guard cards that needed to be tested. We are a lot closer to Forest Guard being ready. Let's go. 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 Now, what needs to be tested now are the more like floaty effects, right? Nothing too specific, right? Everything up until now was subset specific. Now it's just like general things that weren't working or that didn't look good need to be looked at now. Incinerators in this hand, yes. What else do I need to test? I need to test switch, so I'm not going to take this version. Let's go with this one. Perfect. I can test incinerate. I can test switch. I can test that. Deck slot 6 to 10. Let's see. Let's see, actually. Deck 5, I think we built one here, and it was working. Cool. If I go deck 6, I think I also built one here. And from the looks of it, it is working already, right? Beautiful. Let's go down to deck slot 9, which I guess I also built something here. It looks like it's working. What if I try and build something new at deck slot 10? Right? If I try and build something new at deck slot 10, let's just go with a standard Forest Guard build. We put all of our cards in. What I think might need to happen as part of the development process is the ability to copy the cards in one deck to another, but that will have to be for a different milestone because I definitely did not include that in this set of briefs, right? And that would not be fair to extend the duration of this order with something like that. I have messed up. Those cards should have gone in my hand, not into my resource deck, because generic cards cannot go in the resource deck, so I don't have anything to fill up the generic slots. Let's take you out. Let's take you out. Put you right back in, but this time in the right place. Huh? No way, please. Why did I just get Dryad? Because Dryad is behind it, so the issue where you tap on cards behind it is still a problem. An hour and 2. Tapped on a card and saw the card behind it, so it's still not fixed perfectly. It looks better, but it's still not fixed. Put this in my hand. Okay, now I need some generics. Let's filter so this goes a bit faster. We filter for Incinerate, Cleanse, Freeze, Card Exchange, and Shield Wall. Let's throw in Maxim Opus as well as K9. And the deck works perfectly. Okay, good. Alright, so I think the issues with the other deck slots has been fixed. I'm already tired, but there's only 2 pages left. I mean, it's going to go back up to... Actually, no, maybe by the time we're done, there will only be 2 pages of revisions for them, which is good. I'm happy about that. For them, more so than anything else. Thanks, Saul. I touched the card in the declaration phase very lightly. I did not move it anywhere. The green boxes. Okay, so I need... Let's go tutorial. And in truth, the thing about testing reuse switch is because of all of the different scenarios in which it can be used, there's so many things to test for. There's so much to keep in mind. There's so much to look out for. Let's do the test of cards in the declaration phase real quick. So if I go 1, 2, 3, and in the declaration phase, I should have the ability to move 1 card. Right? Okay. Yeah, that works. And the menu is going away properly. Perfect. Okay. Close this off. Beautiful. Information card still not working. Incinerate causing issues. Cards that are summoned in the Nexus should consistently use their defense. Yep, that makes sense. Now, I'm going to switch here just to see if Switch breaks the game. I think we just need to stress test the hell out of Switch, right? Because it just proves to be the most problematic effect in the game. Bar none. Bar none, Switch is the worst in terms of bugs. Okay, sure, let's attack. Let's see. Now, if I do the thing where I bug out on the preparation phase, let's kill a couple birds with one stone. Let's kill a couple birds with one stone. Beautiful. We do have Zodiac Barrier in hand. Draw phase rolls around. We can set this on the field. And then if I go... Yep, nope, still breaks it. Still breaks it. Right? I don't know what's causing that to break in that way. I guess, are we in wave... Wait, no, are we in wave start? No, we're in the declaration phase still. Right? We're in the declaration phase still. So, me just pressing that button rapidly breaks the game in a way that a player would be able to exploit that. So if I wanted to cheat my opponent, I would just spam that button. And then I would get to use my effects in the declaration phase instead of at wave start when I should be using them. So I'm going to mark that as still being an issue. And we will activate Zodiac Barrier here. This card will act as the barrier. Oh, but they're not in a stack. So I can't actually test the thing I wanted to test. Okay, and that the time code for that was 106. 106. Spam pressing the end button in the DP breaks the game. And let's switch. Hey, let's keep the switch train going. Let's keep the switch train going. Okay, it's working. Hey, it's working. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Good. 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 Switch isn't freezing the game here. But yeah, the spam pressing issue isn't fixed. Let's see. Do we have Reyes in hand? No, we do not. Do we draw Reyes' turn? Let's find out. Switch was used in a completely legal way. Yeah, in truth, if they spent their time fixing Switch, then hell yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. We still need to test Switch more. What was the legal way that Switch was used last time? So it says here that Switch was used in a legal way and that broke the game. Oh my goodness, did Switch break the game? Are we frozen? That's the only thing I can think of that would have broken the game here. We're at wave end. Yeah, we are 100% frozen. I think Switch still broke the game somehow. Because that's the only thing I can think of that's weird here. So let's go 108. Switch still breaks the game, as I don't know what else would have caused this freeze. Maybe it's because Zodiac Barrier was active on Ryu. I don't know why it froze here, but it has. So Switch... God, Switch is the most annoying effect in this game. Okay, what else? Card summon in the Nexus is supposed to use their defense. The VFX for stacks. And Incinerate showing multiple targets. I think we've already fixed that, actually. I've already seen Incinerate only show one copy of targets. So we'll take that off for now. And yeah, that means this is the last thing to test. right? Because we know that Switch is broken, so there's no point in racking our brains about it. The only support type card in this hand is you, and it uses your defense. Perfect. And I want 2 cards stacked on top of each other, and Zodiac Barrier on the field. And okay, and let's see if the UI for Zodiac Barrier covers the turn phase counter. Alright. End declaration phase. Wave start. Zodiac Barrier. Let's protect you since you're on the bottom and you can act as the barrier. Don't chain. Okay, so now when I press on this, yep, it covers it. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This wants me to switch. I don't wanna. This works properly. Alright. And if I switch with Twersion, the game will probably freeze. The game will probably freeze. But will Twersion use it? He uses his defense. Perfect. And then he should be sent to the graveyard at the end of this turn because he was not summoned in the Nexus. He's just there. But the game will also probably freeze. No? Game didn't crash. Game didn't crash, but Twersion wasn't sent to the graveyard. Okay. Alright, there's a bug. 111. When Ryu switches a card into the Nexus, it is supposed to be no crash, but bugged. To be sent to the graveyard during the end phase, but Twersion remained on the field. Okay, cool. That appears to be everything on the chopping block, and this list looks so much shorter. So in hindsight, it's a lot. While some core effects didn't work, which made testing a lot more tedious than it should have been, we've got, I would say this is a page worth, right? Let's see. Yeah, this is just over a page worth. So by the time we add these effects in, we might have 2 to 3 pages versus the 6 that we had before, which is really, really good. I'll take that. All right, thank you guys for sitting through another testing session with me. I appreciate the company. Jojo, have a great night, and I will put together my feedback, and hopefully we have another build before the end of the week that solves all of these issues. All right, I'll catch you in a little bit.